Welcome, my friends, to a new episode of TOEFL ITP Insider. And in this episode, we're going to talk about using other adverb connectors correctly. Right, so let's talk. In the previous episode, we talked about time and cause connectors. Now, in this episode, we're going to talk about other types of connectors as well. So we will talk about connectors such as contrast connectors, condition connectors, manner connectors, and place connectors. So let's start with this example. Let's read it together. The former French president opposed the bill, even though he backed it during his presidential campaign in 2007. So let's analyze it. The former French president, that's a subject. Opposed, that's a verb. And then we have even though, and even though, that's a connector. What's after the connector? We've got he, that's the subject. And we've got backed, that's a verb. Which means that these other adverb connectors, unlike the previous ones, they need a clause before and a clause after. And we said that a clause contains a subject and a verb. Let's have a look at another example. Let's read it together. In case the serial numbers get lost or stolen, you should keep a list of them. Now let's analyze this together. In case, that's a connector, an adverb connector at the beginning. The serial numbers, that's the subject. And then we have get lost or stolen, that's the verb. Now look at what's in the middle. It's a comma, wonderful. And then what's after the comma? You should. You is a subject, should keep is a verb. When we started with the adverb connector, we put a comma between the two clauses in the middle. Wonderful. Now, let's look at the adverb connectors we're focusing on in this session. And the first type is condition connectors. And condition connectors are like if, in case, provided, providing, unless, and whether. Now, contrast connectors are although, though, even though, while, whereas. Now, manner connectors are as, in that, and place connectors where, wherever. Now let's see how these connectors can be tested in the ITP TOEFL exam. Let's go to this question. And we have an MCQ here. Let's read it together. This is the main profile photo for your page and will be shown whenever as your page on Facebook. Now let's analyze it. We've got this and is. Wonderful. So this is a subject and is a verb. So it seems that in the first clause we've got subject and verb. And then we have and, that's a connector, followed also by verb will be shown. Good. Then we have whenever. Now that's an adverb connector. And we know from the structure that after the adverb connector we need a clause, and a clause is made of a subject and a verb. So let's look for a subject and a verb. And as your page on Facebook, we don't see a subject or a verb, which means that we need a subject and a verb, and we need to look for that in the following options. Let's have a look. So we've got posting. No subject, no verb. Posting can be can be used as a noun, but we don't know. We don't have a verb. Post. No, that's only a verb. To post, that's to infinitive. And D, you post. Oh yes, that's it. Because we've got you, use a subject, and post is a verb. That's the correct option. Now, let's check sentences and see whether they are accurate or not according to the structure of adverb connectors. Let's have a look. And we have here a lovely example. It says, developing in an iterative fashion using agile methods is usually an excellent way to go. You don't step on any mines. Let's analyze it. Developing in an iterative fashion using agile methods. All this is a subject. And we've got is, that's a verb. So I've got a subject and a verb. Let's continue. Is usually an excellent way to go. You, wait a minute. That's a subject, and then don't step. And that's a verb. But there is something missing here. Now, the part that is missing is actually the connector, because you cannot have two clauses this way without a connector. So the original sentence is, developing in an iterative fashion using agile methods is usually an excellent way to go, providing you don't step on any mines. So the missing connector was providing. Let's go and analyze another sentence. Economists debate whether the massive outsourcing of American jobs over the last generation inevitable. Now let's analyze it. Economists, that's a subject. And debate, wonderful, that's a verb. And then we've got whether, obviously, that's the adverb connector. Now, what do we expect after the adverb connector? We expect a clause, a subject and a verb. Then we have the massive outsourcing of American jobs over the last generation. That can be a subject. And then we have inevitable, that's an adjective. But wait a minute, no verb. So this sentence is incorrect because it is missing a verb in the second clause. Now, the original sentence is, economists debate whether the massive outsourcing of American jobs over the last generation was inevitable. So the missing verb was. Okay, another sentence. Let's see whether it's correct or not. And it reads as follows. A one-time comprehensive illegal immigration plan was signed while was in office. So we have a one-time comprehensive immigration plan, that's a subject, was signed, that's a verb. Then we've got while, that's an adverb connector. But then what do we have? We've got was and in office. And was is a verb, but where is the subject? Well, the subject is missing, so this sentence is incorrect. The original one is, a one-time comprehensive illegal immigration plan was signed while Reagan was in office. So the missing subject is Reagan. Okay, so my friends, so the other adverb time connectors actually share cause and time connectors, the same structure, clause, and then connector, and then clause. And if you start with the connector at the very beginning, then it will be clause, comma, clause. And we said that the clause contains a subject and a verb. Thank you so much for watching another episode of TOEFL ITP Insider. And again, don't forget to like and leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. See you again. Bye-bye.